Then guys, many questions on Liverpool. Guys, I fully expect Liverpool now to enter into action again for Bradley Barcola. Liverpool are prepared to bid again for Bradley Barcola. So far what happened, rather than an official bid, was the indication from Liverpool to Paris Saint-Germain about a number over the direct talks they had, Liverpool and PSG, in the recent weeks. So they were indicating to Paris Saint-Germain a potential number for the deal for Bradley Barcola. It happened already 10 days ago, and Paris Saint-Germain said this number is far away from what we want, so still distance. But I fully expect in the next days, not today, Liverpool to bid again for Bradley Barcola, to present an official proposal and to continue this direct conversation, Liverpool-PSG, PSG-Liverpool. Don't forget that Barcola was not in the squad last night for Paris Saint-Germain against Lens. Don't forget that Luis Enrique said, I will talk about Barcola at the end of the window. Don't forget that Barcola didn't feature in the UEFA Super Cup and also in the French Super Cup. Nasser Al-Khelaifi was keeping all the doors open, so there is still an expectation for Bradley Barcola to have huge chances to go to Liverpool. Remember that Barcola has an agreement with Liverpool on personal terms, and that Barcola is very attracted by the Liverpool project. So we wait for these steps to follow. Then guys, it's been a day where you asked me so many questions on...
To let him leave.
Arsenal don't need him for the PL, but it would be good for the Champions League. That's really what I think they'd be thinking.
Yeah, it would be very good there. So what are Liverpool up to at the moment? Do we know? What are they in the market for? And Gakpo potentially leaving? What are the chances of that?
Yeah, 2 attackers likely to come in at Liverpool if Gakpo leaves. 1 for sure. We know that they'd love to do Bradley Barcola. I was told a few days ago that there's this big gulf in valuation, but it was notable when PSG lost the Champions Trophy last night to Lens. Barcola and Ibrahim Mbaye were both there sitting in the stands. And if Liverpool are to succeed on this one, it's not about just bidding and bidding and bidding. It's about waiting and waiting in the hope that PSG's asking price comes down. So if they offer encouragement, a bit like Newcastle and Alexander Isak towards the end of the window, then Liverpool will be there. But if there remains this 170 million euros asking price, then Liverpool will have to explore other targets. And it will be fascinating now whether Liverpool try and dive in ahead of the new Premier League season, or alternatively, if PSG make them wait until right towards the end of the window, in the hope, basically, that someone's got to flinch first. So if Liverpool wait and wait and wait, their feeling will be that Barcola's in an untenable position because PSG have ultimately added Ferran Torres, Mika Götze and Magnus Akliouche. But if they leave it too long, then the window could shut, or PSG could decide we're just going to keep him and wait until 2027. Alternatively, from Liverpool's perspective, if they go now and try and do it early, Paris Saint-Germain might turn around and say, you know, the price, in the hope that Liverpool pay it out of urgency. So this has got to come to a head one way or the other, but Barcola remains Liverpool's top target. It just hasn't been an easy negotiation to date. And Liverpool's entire tactic is around waiting, feeling in control of it because Barcola wants the move, and then hoping that that price comes down in the final days of the window.
I wonder if Arsenal would nip in if Alvarez was a non-starter, but we'll see.
Yeah. The Buardi deal for City, that's a pretty long way down the line. You expecting that to get done next couple of days?
Yeah, today, tomorrow, it's basically agreed almost in principle. Only a few final details remain. And Man City, as it stands anyway, and I don't think this will change when you consider that Rodri and Tierney Reinders have both left, want the Moroccan now. So they had this one price of in and around 100 million euros for an immediate transfer, and a number close to 80 million if it was to be a pre-agreement or a loan back. And City are now in final stage negotiations. The players already agreed to the move, and my expectation is this one gets done, and likely we get clarity on Buardi joining before we get a culmination to the Enzo Fernandez saga.
The interminable Savinho Spurs deal limps on. I mean, he didn't feature yesterday. He's played a lot pre-season, but wasn't involved in the community.
I think it'll happen because they need the money. And they've got the Rodri money, they've got the Reinders money, but if they want to buy Buardi and Fernandez, they need that deal to happen.
Exactly. So you would expect that to get done this week, Ben?
Yeah, not necessarily this week, although the player would like it to be the case. But one of the key things for City is, are they actually going to look at another wide attacker? And that was always the indication from sources that this was not about the financials with Spurs. They've basically had the nuts and bolts of a deal in place for quite some time. It was about wait for Enzo Maresca to approve that he definitely wanted Savinho to go. That part's been done. And for City to scour the market over a replacement. And they, like Al Hilal, have shown an interest in Pedro Neto. And then it would be signed off likely at board level. So Tottenham also might have to be patient. But Savinho's definitely still a concrete possibility, as is Cody Gakpo. And Spurs are going to be busy in the market because they're assessing whether to add a number 9. And Richarlison's future has a question mark over it as well. So there feels like a lot of big 6 clubs at the moment with unfinished business. And then with City and funding it, it's just worth noting they'd already budgeted for Buadi, so that part's fine. And then Reinders plus Rodri basically equals 120 million. So that would allow them to go for Enzo Fernandez. And then regarding Savinho, the extra money would not necessarily book balance from the midfield revamp. It would more give them that extra bit of flexibility to add that another attacker that I mentioned.
But they want Gusto and Pedro as well. They can't have all our players. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, Pedro Neto. I mean,
he seems to be a big part of what Xabi Alonso wants to do. He's been playing him at wing back. Played on Saturday. Played in pre-season. I'd be surprised, but money talks.
Yeah, but it would have to be serious money. So we're not talking about trying to force the player out. He played against Real Sociedad. He's part of the plans if he stays. And if they lose him, then Chelsea have got a lot of players that prefer the left and one less that's very capable on the right. So this is why Chelsea have got a valuation of close to £100 million. City, as I said earlier, have an interest, but Al Hilal also are expected to try and accelerate talks with Chelsea this week, having already made an approach to the player side. And they've added Crescencio Somerville, Simon Francis, ex-Bournemouth technical director working at that club, Richard Hughes expected to join as well. And they're suddenly going for peak age players. And my information is that Karim Benzema could potentially leave the club as well, whether through a transfer or whether through a contract termination. And Hilal are looking at a number 9, and the links with Ollie Watkins are legitimate as well. So Saudi market hasn't entirely kicked into gear yet, even though we've had a couple of notable signings like Reinders to Al Qadsiya. But I sense in these final 2 weeks we might get a few surprise moves to Saudi. Let's see whether Pedro Neto is one of them, because once again, if Chelsea's valuation isn't met, they're more than happy to keep.
Do you think Adam Wharton will still be a Palace player at the end of this window?
It's an interesting one because I'm surprised. No real bids or approaches. It's so late in the window. Crystal Palace's perspective is that they don't now want to lose or entertain offers for the player, and that's natural. And yet, could we see a twist? Potentially. So City sources, even though they discussed him before the window opened, downplay that they're going to move for him in central midfield, even though he'd be somewhat more economical comparative, say, to a double swoop for Buadi and Enzo Fernandez. Man United have had Wharton on their list for quite some time. They're still assessing third midfielders. Earlier in the window, it was said to me by a source that he's too similar in profile to Kobbie Mainoo, but now Man United have to assess, do they want nothing or somebody?
And finally, the story with the most concrete movement attached to it. Curtis Jones's future has been a talking point for over a year, and what's now being described from those with knowledge of discussions as a move to Inter Milan that has progressed well beyond speculation. Jones's game time has fluctuated across recent seasons, and with his contract situation adding pressure to a decision either way, a departure has felt increasingly plausible. Inter's interest is not fresh, it's been tracked for some time, but the framing now is different. This is being described as close. I can confirm the direction of travel here. Discussions between the parties have advanced meaningfully. Personal terms are not a sticking point. Jones is open to the move, and Inter see him as an ideal profile for their midfield rotation heading into a demanding European campaign. What remains is the structural detail, fee mechanics between the clubs, add-ons, payment terms. These things take days, sometimes longer, but nothing currently suggests this collapses. Internally, both sides expect resolution soon. This one makes complete sense from every angle. Jones needs regular football to kick his career forward again. Inter needed fresh legs in that midfield after last season, and Liverpool get to recoup a fee for a player who wasn't guaranteed minutes under the current setup anyway. Sometimes the least dramatic transfer story is the most logical one. This has smart business for everyone involved written all over it. Liverpool's recruitment team has quietly reshaped its priority list this week, and the name sitting at the top of it belongs to Bradley Barcola. What started as background scouting interest has now moved into something more concrete. Anfield's hierarchy has been mapping out attacking reinforcements for months, and the France international has emerged as the profile that ticks the most boxes: pace in behind, comfort on either flank, and end product that's improved sharply over the last 18 months. But this story doesn't exist in isolation. Any move for Barcola inevitably raises a second question that's been circling the camp for weeks: what happens to Cody Gakpo if this deal advances? Two storylines, one squad, and a summer that could reshape Liverpool's entire front line. Let's break down where things actually stand, starting with the man whose sourcing on this situation has been sharper than almost anyone else's. Here's what I'm hearing directly from people close to the discussions. Liverpool haven't just made contact, they've gone further than that. There's been a structured approach to PSG that includes a framework on structure, not just a number thrown out to test the water. That distinction matters, because it tells you this isn't exploratory anymore. This is a club building toward an actual proposal. Now, the fee. My understanding is Liverpool's opening valuation sits meaningfully below what PSG consider the starting point for negotiations. That gap is real, and it's the first thing that needs closing before anything else moves. PSG's stance right now is that any departure has to be replaced immediately, which shapes their urgency, or lack of it, at this stage. On Barcola's side, sources close to the player describe him as open to hearing Liverpool out, but not pushing for an exit publicly. He's contracted, he's valued in Paris, and there's no dressing room unrest driving this. It's a football decision, not a relationship breakdown. What I'd flag is the timeline. This isn't a deal that resolves in the next 48 hours. Liverpool's model with recruitment this cycle has been patience over panic: build the relationship, let the numbers move gradually, and strike when the gap narrows rather than overpaying early. Expect this one to run for weeks, not days. And that patience is exactly why the Gakpo question keeps resurfacing internally.